Okay, so what we're going to do this morning is we're going to go into some yoga, kind of a yoga flow with relation to right action. So kind of keeping that mode or thinking or that attitude toward bringing our practice or even shall we say, so bringing our day into right action. So bringing the yoga practice into a right moving kind of flowward kind of a thing. So I guess the best way to describe it would be smooth day, smooth yoga. So let's get started and let's get right into this. And for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Michael Jeff, and this is the Yoga Lounge channel. And I'm glad that you all could join and you decided to tune in, for those that have. And one thing I want to stress before we start is that, and I've said it before, it's not about what you can do or you think you can do or saying, hey, I can do all those moves. It's not a problem. I'm just going to show myself that I can. I can do what the guy behind me or the guy in front or the whoever can do. And I'm going to prove to them. But so that's the complete opposite approach, and that's the exact point that most people miss, is that the attitude should be that we don't care what anybody else thinks. We totally want to go within, be mindful, and kind of delve inside of our inner spirit, and our shall we say, more or less our physical being, or our physical self. So there's nothing to prove, nothing to gain, nothing lost, nothing gained, nothing saved. And it's a lifetime of work. And the utmost important is never do more than you're capable or what you think you're capable of doing. So in that respect, you have to listen to your body. Listen to what your body's telling you in each and every posture or the asanas. So I'm just going to do a quick recap before we sit down to meditate. So we, in some of the previous videos, we talked about the 5 points of yoga. We talked about the 3 yoga gunas. We talked about hot and cold. And I'd like to just go over those real quick for those of you that might not have tuned in before. So first of all, let's go over the 5 points of yoga real quickly again. So we have, first of all, and these all work in correlation with the practice and creating this whole physical process of this exercise. So within the yoga practice, and this is very standard. These 5 points have been around for a long, long time. So we have proper exercise, number 1. Number 2, proper diet. Okay, number 3, we have proper breathing, which is more or less or sometimes known as proper pranayama, which means breath. We have proper relaxation, which is proper sleep. So sleep is very important at night, to get that sleep, whether it's 6 hours, usually 6 to 8 hours. Some people maybe 5 hours. And then of course there's positive thinking. So the positive thinking, which is the mental, which is the intellectual, which is calming the mind and centering oneself. And the whole purpose, again, for yoga is to maintain a center of balance, and it's to prepare the body so that we can meditate, we can sit for long periods of time, and to really center ourselves and be with clarity of mind, clarity of thought through each and everything that we do, for all the people that we encounter through the day. that we blend into harmony with them as it relates to us, and so we create a good experience for the atmosphere and the, shall we say, the vibe center that surrounds us as we go through our day-to-day process. It's like, hi, how you doing? What's up? And this and that, and say hello, and what can I do? Or how are you? Always keeping a higher attitude, and this is kind of like what yoga does. So this kind of practice of meditation and learning how to calm down so that we present the best possible version of ourselves. So once again, in the three gunas we talked about before, okay, first of all we have the tamas, then we have the rajas, and then we have the sattvic. So let's start with the tamas, which is the most, shall we say, the grossest of, and the lowest caliber, and on the lowest state of mind would be tamasic. And we talk about probably the best equation is the Tasmanian devil. The guy who spins around and goes nuts and goes through trees and spins around through walls and up a chimney and everywhere else. So no, he's not Santa Claus, he's the complete opposite. And then we have the oh gosh, okay, let me try to get serious here. Okay, we have the Raja. So the Raja is the subconscious. It's kind of like okay, look at me, yeah, I'm spicy, I'm this, I'm cool, I'm smart, I'm the best one in the class, I always move to the top of the field in everything I do. That's Raja, is intellectual, is subconscious programming. So it would be the equation of spicy hot. So then we have the sattvic, which is the state of the most high. It's the state of samadhi. So usually in the morning from about 10 to, I'd say 10 to 12 is kind of like the Rajasic, 10 to 1. And then it starts turning into tamas from 1 to 4. And then it goes into the sattvic very late at night. It could be anywhere from like 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock to, like maybe sometimes even 6 or 7 in the morning. So, and you'll notice that everything is very calm. And that's why I like to do a lot of my classes in the morning, to get that center of, so that there's no distractions. And that's kind of like God's time. So we would kind of put it that way. So those are the three gunas. Again, tamas, rajas, and sattvic. And then we have the hot and the cold. So the hot side is the Pingala, which we talked about before, and the cool side is Ida. So in everything in yoga, there's a right and there's a left, and everything kind of balances out to hot and cold. And so this is kind of the, how it all kind of works in together in conjunction. So these are all important points, and we talked about these before. And so let's just take a few moments. If you have a yoga mat, that's always good. If you don't have one, then that's okay too, but it's better to have one. Kind of keeps the bacteria from breathing bacteria and what have we. So let's start, and I hope that you can all see my angle. Let's see, so we're going to get started. I think that I'm lighted enough. And I like to go with the flow, whether I make mistakes or it's okay that we learn from mistakes. It's, when we try to be too perfect, we come off contrived and, and so it's better to just be natural. And so that's why I try to leave my videos with the least amount of editing and superficial them as I can. I like to keep everything up front so that what you're seeing is the real thing. Let's just start with putting our hands on our knees. And we're going to just kind of go inside, and we're going to bring the focus to the hands first. So bring your attention to your fingers, touch your index and your third finger and your thumb together in both hands. Relax your shoulders and relax your neck, and try to keep your head nice and loose, and maybe shake the body back and forth a little bit, and let's just sit still for a moment and breathe. Take some breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Nice deep breath and exhale. Notice the mind as it jumps back and forth, to and fro. It tries to get to everything it can. But so we're just going to try to keep that calm and stay centered, and keep bringing our attention back to our fingers. And in this moment, this is all we have. We don't have yesterday, we don't have tomorrow. We just have today. And let's look over to your right side, keeping a nice straight back. Breathe actively. And look over to your left and breathe. Noticing how your hands feel, noticing the breath, noticing the mind becoming clearer. Coming back to center. And let's do some neck rolls. So we're going to roll around to the right side first. So kind of, let's just roll the head around like this. If it makes you dizzy, then just don't do it. Otherwise, roll around to the other side. So this kind of stretches out the neck. And it's kind of good to do these exercises. When you first start out, it kind of gets you prepared to going into more of the deeper postures and the deeper asanas. Bring your chin on down toward the collarbone. Exhale. Bring the hands underneath the chin like this, or like this in prayer. Lift the chin slightly up. Not agitating the neck, but very gently just tilt the head up. And then exhale, come down. Take a couple more breaths, getting back into the flow. Keeping the clarity of focus on exactly what we're doing. Welcoming ourselves into Monday, into the start of the week. Setting forth a great pattern of action, trying to stay within right action, or at least having that intention for the rest of this day, and for that matter, for the rest of the week. So this is what it's all about. Trying to stay in right action rather than wrong action. So kind of in yoga, wrong action would be to the left and right action would be to the right. We always have that choice every single day. And this applies to a lot of different aspects of life as well. Even if you don't do yoga, it's always good to set that approach for the day. All right, so let's just stretch forward. Nice gentle stretch. Don't put too much strain on the back. So notice when you start to round the back or you're stretching too far, then you want to pull back. So always have a slight bend to the elbows. Keeping a nice even stretch. And if you can go further, then try to deepen it. But you might, it's always better to go less than it is to go far. That's how you will improve much more rapidly. So, and usually a good rule of thumb is when we round the back, it usually means that we're stretching too far in the yoga practice. And let's come up, let's inhale, bring the hands up into prayer like this. Keep a straight back. Notice that we're straightening through the back. Keep engaging the breath, so keep the breathing nice and steady, just regular. Notice that we're opening up the channels throughout the body, so we're really giving the body a chance to open up and to bring in the energy and bring that flow all the way through our body, down to our sit bones and through the knees and the feet. Exhale, release the hands out airplane fashion. And go ahead and put the hands behind the back. So we put the hands behind the back. And if you notice, kind of like this, so we pull our shoulders back to open up the chest. And so we lengthen through the back and the spine and the neck, thus avoiding crouching over, which is bad posture. So most people get in the habit of slouching over a lot. And so when we do that, when we pull back like that, it kind of straightens us up. So we can either do that standing or sitting. Okay, so let's release the legs out a little bit. And we're just going to shake the legs, and then we're just going to get right into this. I'm going to try to keep this under 10 hours today. Maybe 45 minutes if I'm lucky. Okay. All right, so, and again, for those of you that haven't checked this channel out before, my name is Michael, and it's the Yoga Lounge. I've probably said that a million times. You're probably tired of hearing that. But it's just good for somebody that's tuned into the first time. Okay, so shaking your legs out. And so we're just getting in touch with who we are here. As we go through this, at least try to be mindful for this 40 minutes or 45 minutes. And so in yoga, the first thing I want to show you how to get up and the proper transition. I don't know if we've discussed this. So usually when we start from the seated position, the first step is we put our hands down, then we come into this position right here, and then we get up, we kind of bend forward, and then we kind of bring the hands up, and we don't have to go all the way through that, but that's a proper getting up, a proper transition up than just a jerking. And that is the way to get your body up from a seated position in yoga. Okay, so we're going to go straight into Trikonasana. Take a few moments to breathe. But before we do that, let's bring the hands up into Tall Mountain. So we're coming from Tadasana into a higher mountain, and let's go back down into regular mountain pose. And so but then let's pull our shoulders back and let's ground our feet about shoulder width apart. So really sinking our feet, feeling our yoga mat, feeling that connection, bringing that energy up and bringing that energy down from above to bring the energies together, which is the Shakti energy coming up, uniting with the Shiva energy, would be one way to describe it. So Shakti is the energy, in yoga, this is the way they describe it, is the energy that comes up. And the crown, the highest chakra would be the Sahasrara, or which would be the crown chakra. And so again, then we've gone through the chakras, the Anahata, the Manipura, the Svadhisthana, the Muladhara, which would be the basal, the lowest chakra. So most people, they live out of the base chakra, which is the, kind of more of the animal state. And then as it gets higher, when we live out of the throat, which is the Vishuddha chakra, I forgot to mention that, and the Ajna, and I forgot to mention that one too, the Ajna chakra and the thousand petal lotus, which is the top chakra, it's in the state of God or Brahman, which would equate to that religion. So if you're practicing it that way, you know, and I'm coming at it just from the exercise point of view. But I do talk about, because I've studied it and I've had a lot of training in it, so I like to bring up the points and the aspects of the different teachings and how it relates to the asanas. Okay, so let's go into, let's just step right out into triangle. So we take the feet about 3 feet apart, and the back foot is about 45 degrees. The front foot is 90 degrees out, so kind of angled that way. Notice that there's a straight line. Bring the arms up, keep the shoulders relaxed, arms out airplane fashion. Inhale, take a breath, exhale, reach down toward the foot. You might want to stop about here. You don't want to go down too far. Don't go down further than you can. And this is Trikonasana. Keep the chest and shoulders open and look up to the hands. If you can. If you can't, just keep the gaze forward. Both legs are straight, the back foot is in slightly. And breathe. Feeling a lot of energy, and this is really good for toning the hips, the legs, the inner thighs, outer thighs, and strengthening your arms and your shoulders and chest. And on the power of the breath, come up, exhale, and release. And release. And let's go to the other side. Taking about 20, maybe just 30 seconds sometimes. Sometimes you can even take almost, 40 to 50 seconds, maybe a minute. It's good to let the body recap and let the body catch up to the mind. We don't want to overthink and, rush right into this, because then it kind of wears out the body and we defeat our whole purpose. So stepping out to the left, or whichever side you didn't do the last time, arms out airplane fashion. Relax the shoulders, drop the hand, look up to the right hand, I believe it would be. Looking down, or actually looking up toward the hand. And if you can, if it puts too much strain on the neck, then just keep the gaze forward. And you might just want to come down to here. If it's too strenuous to come all the way down, some of you more advanced can come all the way down, reach down to the foot. Notice almost as if you have a ruler against your chest. You're opening up like a flat board. It's pressing you totally straight. So your chest is in alignment with your knees and your feet. Couple more breaths, and then let's come up. So gaining power in the breath, coming up on the power of the breath, exhale and release. Bring the feet back in. And let's take a couple moments. Now in a couple weeks, maybe, I don't know when, but at some point I'm going to start demonstrating revolving triangle, which is Pavarita Trikonasana. We haven't done that yet. It's a little more strenuous. But at this point, I don't feel it's necessary. I'm trying to go, step by step, slow by slow, minute by minute. It's the best way to approach it. Not trying to do everything all at once. Let's go into Parsva Konasana, the extended side angle, stepping out to your right. Wide stance here. First of all, line the hips up with the shoulders, okay? So a nice straight line, make sure the body is very straight, feeling very comfortable. The feet are firmly planted on the ground. First, arms out airplane fashion as we take our first breath. And let's keep that knee directly over the foot and the back foot in slightly toward the posture, usually about 45 degrees. Coming up, exhale, keeping the breath going with the flow as we lift the arm up over the ear, looking up to the arm, pointing the palm down to your yoga mat. Looking up slightly toward your arm. And again on this one, I'm going to go into the advanced variations and at a later date. Keeping the breath active. This is a very effective posture, very strengthening pose. And let's just come up. Exhale on the power of the breath and release. And let's take a few moments. And that was the extended side angle, sometimes called Upavistha Konasana. Okay, so let's go out to the left side conversely. Feet are a little bit wider apart here. I'd say probably maybe almost 4 feet. Take whatever is comfortable for you. And the arms out airplane fashion. Shoulders are relaxed. Breath is very active. The first step, make sure your hips are in alignment with the shoulders. Arms out. Relax the shoulders. Make sure as we drop our knee, it's 90 degrees over the foot. Rest the arm onto the thigh. Lift the arm up directly over the ear. Look up to the arm, or the upper arm. Point the palm down towards your mat. A nice even breath flow here, keeping the breath very active. And you'll feel it probably in that front, in the bent knee and the front leg. And you're also going to feel that the back leg is very active here. So you're really drawing energy from that back foot and opening up that top part of the body. Keep the breath very moving, very active, nice. A nice form here, nice concentration, clarity of mind. Exhale on the power of the release and release. Now lift the hands up, come into prayer. Up on top with the hands together. Maybe you can point the index fingers together like this. You can probably see here. You can't see it on that position of the camera. Our hands are going over the camera. Okay, and let's relax. Okay, so the next pose is going to be, and we've done this before many times, and sometimes we've varied it. And I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to do different things, different times. Sometimes I might just shut up for the whole class. I don't know. All right. Into the pyramid pose. Keeping the mind calm, square off your hips. That's the number one thing. And we're just going to bend forward from the hips. The more advanced people are going to come down like this today, I think, if you want to, or you can come down like this if you're more advanced. Otherwise, everybody else, let's just put our hands on our hips and let's take a deep breath. First of all, lift our hands up, 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 up. And bring the hands back on the hips. And exhale. Down toward the straight leg, looking down at the feet. Make sure the back foot is in alignment with the front heel, the back arch. Front foot 90 degrees out, the back foot in 45 degrees. If you get too tired, come up. Never push yourself. If you need to rest, then sit down and rest. Otherwise, try to deepen the stretch. Or if your hands are up to here, you're kind of looking like this. And let's start to come up. Inhale, exhale. And you can really feel that surge of energy. I mean, it takes a lot of energy to do that. So some of these things, let's take a couple moments before we go into the other side. Some of these things you really have to, proceed with caution. Don't overdo it just because, you want to, because somebody else said so. If you go to a class or, it's not monkey see, monkey do. It's what you do. All right, so here we go. Step around to the left side, front foot 90 degrees out, back foot in 45. Hands on hips, or you can go into the hands in prayer like this, in reverse prayer. And if you're in reverse prayer, it's going to look like this when you come down. Everybody else, the hands are going to be in the hips. First, so it's always good to do this one first. Inhale up, nice straight body, exhale down. And let's just bring the hands on the hips. And stretch down. And exhale. Breathe. Notice that that front heel is in alignment with the back arch. A nice straight line. And this is very toning for the legs and the hips. Very good for the whole body. Breath is nice and active. Trying to gaze down at your toe. And breathe. And let's start to ascend. And remember, always on the ascension, we kind of inhale. And then we exhale. And release. So always when we lift, we inhale. And when we descend, we exhale. So you can always kind of think of it like that. And so our last standing pose, and this is kind of the way we do it. Two more. Excuse me. So we're going to go into Virabhadrasana. Let's do Virabhadrasana 1 and 2. And then we'll go into Prasarita Padasana after that. So once again, so stepping out with the right side, front heel, back arch, like a pencil, one straight line. Square off the hips. And lift the hands alongside the ear, the arms alongside the ears if you can. Otherwise, your arms may just lift to here. And we're going to take another breath, exhale. Keep that back leg firm. Keep the foot planted on the ground. If you can look up to the hand. You can try to deepen the stretch. That front knee is 90 degrees over the foot. A lot of power. So we're really drawing in energy from the sky or your ceiling, bringing it down, bringing in the energy from the feet and uniting the two energies, opening up the whole body, getting going. Let's go out into Warrior 2, into Virabhadrasana. So keep that knee bent, but shift the hips and the shoulders. So the hips and the shoulders are in line, looking out toward the hand. Relax the shoulders, relax your eyes, very concentrated. So you're concentrating on what you're doing. Mind is clear. Don't think of that terrible neighbor that you have, or whatever else it might be. Bring the mind back to the center. And exhale and release. And let's go into the other side. We're going to start going into variations too on some of our other classes. Maybe we might go into down dog after that. And by the way, if some of you want to do that, and if you feel like you want to try, you can always turn the video off and come back to it. If you feel you want to go into some other variations after that. But I'm trying to kind of keep this even for everybody, so on a, based on a level of abilities that people that might be watching, so try to make it so everybody can do some of it at least, if not all of it. First step, hips, shoulders in alignment. Relax the shoulders, look out to the hand. Fun, fun, fun. And you know what? I did that wrong. Let's come back. All right. Just for the heck of it, if you were in Warrior 2, then you can go up into Warrior 1, or you can just come out. Okay, so we forgot to do Warrior 1. So let's, okay, so square off the hips. And let's come up. Inhale. And bend the knee over the foot. Keep the back leg firm. So we did a little bit of an extra pose there. Okay, so shoot the arms out in an airplane fashion like this. We'll rush it a little bit. Okay, I'm sorry about that. All right, so relax the shoulders, look out to the hand, calm the mind, and exhale and release on the power of the breath. And let's take a few moments. Okay, breathe. Let's go into Purvottanasana. And I'm going to step out like this. Everybody else is going to stay like this. Okay. All right, so some people might want to come down like this, lifting the hands up high. But for the sake of the matter, let's just put our hands on our hips and bend forward from the hips, exhaling as we come down. Don't come down where you round your back. Once again, I can't stress that more than enough. So we want to, when we feel our back starting to round, that's where we want to stop. We don't want to stretch any further, so we don't want to irritate the back. We can bend the knees to take pressure off the back. So that takes the pressure off if you need to bend your knees. Otherwise, if you want, you can keep your legs straight. You can try to deepen the stretch. If you're more advanced, you come down further. Some people can look all the way through their legs, come down and touch their chest to their legs. And let's begin to rise on a lot of exerted power. So really lifting, getting into that energy, letting that body move into the power of what it's capable of. Lifting, straightening, and exhale. Now really stretching out those arms, and exhale and release. And let's rest. So you can shake the legs up and down. And we're going to do, well, I'll tell you what, let's just go ahead and sit down. Let's do the tree pose at the end. I like to improvise. I am kind of improvised on that warrior two there too. I did an extra half pose. And that's okay if you, sometimes the body maybe needs to do it that way. So we're going to do a lot more of that too, I think, in some of the upcoming classes. All right, so I'm just doing this for myself. Don't have to do everything that I do. Okay, so kind of shake the legs up and down. And let's, if you want to just do a balancing thing, I remember I showed you this one before. We interlace the fingers, and let's bring the hands and kind of rise them up like this, kind of motion it through. So once again, we interlace the right finger over the left, and we interlace the fingers, and we kind of bring that underneath like this, and we kind of open the hands up on the outside of the, what would be the Anahata chakra, like this. And that's kind of like a little, it makes you feel good. It's kind of like a little balancing thing. Let's do the opposite side. So interlace the left fingers over the right this time, and come down and pull it through like this. And this is just a balance. It's kind of like an arm and shoulder balancing move. That's just something I've been doing for quite a while. And it works. Shake the arms out. And let's just go ahead and sit down. And we're going to go into the shoulder stand, do a few more postures, and then we'll do the tree at the end, or maybe the tree. Okay, so let's take a few more moments to rest. Kind of getting ourselves ready for it. And this, when we go into the inverted postures, by the way, that these are really beneficial for getting the blood back to the heart. So the inverted postures are very effective in youth restoration, keeping us young, because we get that reverse energy throughout the body, bringing that opening up from the top or from the bottom to the top. When we normally stand up, all the gravity is pulling all of our energy down toward our feet. And so we kind of lose that energy that's in our, in the heart and in the throat and in the brain. So when we do the inverted postures, it brings the blood back through the, it's like the venous return, and it comes back and it gets into that reverse inversion. And so this is the reason for the inverted postures, why they're so effective, particularly the shoulder stand, as you get super advanced, even the headstand, handstand, what have we. But we're just going to do the shoulder stand, and I'm going to demonstrate the modified, which would be for a lot of people, and we'll do two different modified versions. I always like to demonstrate those first. So go ahead and lie down, and the first one, if you're new to yoga, we're just going to lift the legs up like this, which is a mild inversion. And if you're a little bit more advanced, then you're going to come up a little higher, like maybe about 45 degrees up, elbows in, arms alongside the body, the feet pointed in back, and you're kind of resting on your elbows, and the hands are at the tripod of your butt, which would be kind of at the bottom. If you could think of a tripod right above where your butt is. Okay. And the full shoulder stand, of course, would be way up here for very advanced people. If you know that, only if you're advanced, you want to be here. So, but everybody else, we're just going to come to, let's just call it for the sake of the matter, right about here. For beginners. And I'll go up to here maybe for maybe most people here. If you want to go into full shoulder stand, you can do that. Shoulder stand we can hold maybe, sometimes you can hold it up to a minute or two, but we're just going to go for 15 to maybe 30 seconds. Keep the breathing active. Always want to keep your head very still in this. And only if you're advanced, you want to go into full shoulder stand. It puts a lot more, you want to be very flexible in that area. So once again, it's better just to go here. And so let's roll out vertebrae by vertebrae, coming out. And breathe. If you wanted to go into plow for very advanced people, some of you might have done that. You would have gone into halasana. Okay. So in the yoga, there's always a counter pose, usually for many of the stretches. And so for this particular posture, the sarvangasana would be what we call the bridge, which kind of looks like this. There's different variations. So, and for some of you, if you're very new to yoga, you might just want to stay here for today. For some of you, keep your arms alongside the body just like this and come up to here, lifting the butt off the ground, off your yoga mat, and coming up like this. So you get an exercise that tones the gluteal area, or tones your butt pretty good. And this is a little bit more strenuous if you want to put the hands underneath the back like that. And everybody else, you might have been here, and let's just come down. And breathe. And go ahead and hug the knees into the chest. And so again, here's another counter pose to that. So we usually kind of go through those three motions. And so it balances everything out. We roll back and forth from side to side, kind of like this. Okay. And then relax. And of course, there's lots of different variations within sarvangasana. We'll go into some of those later. And let's come up, and the next pose we're going to do is Paschimottanasana. We're going to do a few more before we close. And I hope all of you can see me, and I hope that I'm light enough tonight. And by the way, I hope everybody's having a good night and good morning and feeling really good about themselves. You usually will if you when you do your yoga practice. If you don't push too hard, do it nice and evenly and slowly with a mindful approach, you'll feel pretty good about yourself. Feel like you're approaching the day in a great way. Smooth yoga, smooth day. So let's lift the arms up for the forward bend. Pose of tranquility. Bring the hands down, stretch forward toward the feet. Keep a slight bend in the elbows. Don't come too far again where you round your back. Try to point the toes upward. This is good for anxiety. It's also good for your nerves. As I've said before, it's good for hypoglycemia. They call it the pose of tranquility. Want to deepen it a little bit. A couple more breaths. Try to stay still within the posture, don't jerk. Keep the breath active. Notice that your back is straight, so if you have to come up, then come back up. So if you started to round your back, if your arms are out too straight like this, it means you were stretching too far. All right. And let's just come up, lifting up. Inhale in Dandasana. The arms are nice and straight. Exhale, release. And we're going to come into Purvottanasana tonight, for those of you that know it. And for this, for people, I'm going to do this mostly for people that are new to yoga. If you know some variations on this, you can do that. But we're going to keep the hands facing forward, and this opens up the chest. This is the counter pose for the forward bend. Paschimottanasana. This would be Purvottanasana, the inclined plane. And we're going to come up. It kind of looks like this. So you want to, maybe let's just keep the head facing forward for now. If that's too strenuous, then you're just going to kind of maybe stay where you are, or maybe even like this. But I would say just kind of stay in this position. If you feel that you can do it, let's take a little bit of, get a little bit of power here in the breath. Let's think about the move before we do it, and then come up, kind of creating an inclined plane, if you will. Don't let the head go way back here. Keep the head up or in a line at least straight with the body, maybe even looking forward. And this is going to really build up a lot of arm strength here. And let's come down. So a little quicker this time. Let's take a few moments to relax. And let's hug the knees into the chest like this to counter pose. That was a back pose, strengthening the back, and so then this kind of balances that out. And if you're tired, just take a break and sit it out, or turn the video off and come back to it. Don't have to do everything. So as usually the transition is the next pose is going to be Navasana. It's kind of the flow here, and we've done this one before. And so for beginners, it's lifting the feet off the ground like this. For more advanced people, we're going to come up like this, bringing the hands pointed out alongside the legs like this. If you can grab your feet, like this. But most of us might just be here. Okay, so once again, so we're there, whichever one you were in. And this kind of balances everything out. So you notice how we transition from the Paschimottanasana to Purvottanasana to Navasana. And so that was sometimes called the boat pose or Navasana. Okay. And Taking a couple breaths. Today we're going to do a Supta Konasana, which is the supported version of the Upavistha Konasana. And Upavistha Konasana, for those of you that want to do that, and I've showed it before, it's kind of like the wide angle forward bend. So it's kind of like keeping the coming down, stretching down like this. So this is a little bit more pressure on the hips and the legs. So, be mindful and go at this with, in a very cautious, very slow process, that you don't overstretch and that you don't overstretch your inner thighs. So you may just want to come out just a little bit. If you feel you're more advanced and you want to come out, some people may be able to stretch way out. For everybody else, I'm going to show you Supta Konasana, which is in the supine version. It's kind of would be a more supported form of Upavistha Konasana. And this is especially good for if you're very new to yoga or a beginner. So you may want to do it this way. Come up and let's just bring the legs out, grab in between the legs like this. And let the legs fall to the left and to the right, to the side. Grab on the inner portion of the legs. Make it nice and easy. Just come apart like this. So your back is nice and supported here and you're getting a good stretch to the legs. If you can do it. If you can't do it, then you may just want to stay here. Or you just may want to come back to here and not even do it at all if you notice if it's too hard. It's too hard for you. And take a couple moments. And let's come up little by little, little by little. Give yourself a nice neck rub. And let's go into Ardha Matsyendrasana. We should do a spinal twist, and then we'll do tree pose at the end, I think. All right. So welcome into Monday. And a little bit late today. I had some other things going on, and I wasn't quite myself and wasn't feeling too well, so that's why I was going to do a class earlier this morning, but I didn't get to it. But sometimes better late than never, so I got to it on Monday, which might even be better. It's the work week. So getting into the work week with a nice attitude and a nice mindful approach. Trying to stay through right action, hopefully. It's hard to do when we have all those people we don't like. We encounter those people during the day that, a lot of people we like, but there's a lot of people that kind of rub us the wrong way. And so that's why it's good to exercise or go to the gym. Sometimes they vent all that out, and so we can deal with people differently and deal with people better. All right, so let's do it this way today. So keeping both legs straight, cross the one leg over the opposite side of the knee like this, whichever side you wish to do, and then bring the hand on the opposite side of the knee, plant the hand in back of you, kind of like this. If you can see me, I think you can. Look back toward the hand, don't squinch the shoulder up, relax that shoulder and back. Into a variation of Ardha Matsyendrasana. A couple breaths. These are very good for the digestion. And also good for the back. And very good for toning the legs as well. Very good for balance. Let's do the opposite side. So bringing the right leg, I believe, whichever leg you didn't do, on the opposite side of the leg like this. And slide the arm down on the opposite side of the thigh. Put the hand in back of you. Draw a nice comfortable distance from your butt to your hand. Look back toward the hand. And breathe. Let go. Let your breath guide you. Look back. And relax. And let's kind of shake out the legs. And let's go into final relaxation. But not before we drew the tree. Almost forgot. So let's go ahead. Let's get up again if you want, or you can already go into relaxation if you want to, if you feel like you don't want to do the tree. Okay. I'm going to step a little bit farther back. So for those that don't want to go into tree, again, if you're a beginner, and we're just going to step one foot out and keep the hands on the hips. Maybe lift the foot up if you can for balance. Or if you can't, then just keep the foot on the floor like this. Okay. If you can go into the full tree, let's see if I can do it. Ooh. Barely made it. Oh gosh. Okay. If you're more advanced, you can do that. Okay, so let's do it on the other side. Let me see if I can do it. Okay. Step out with the opposite foot. Lift the foot up. And if you can't lift the foot up, then just step the foot out in front like this. And try to make it evenly between the 2 feet. Okay, so let's see if I can do it on this side. Okay. And you're supposed to hold. I just came out of that. I lost my balance a little bit. All right. So let's go into final Shavasana relaxation. Coming down easily, and this is the most important part of the practice. The hardest thing for most people to do is to relax and to sit still. Believe it or not, I don't know why this is the hardest. It's not hard, but it's most people, they want to jump up and start doing stuff. And that's what we're trying to learn not to do in yoga. That's the very thing in yoga that we want to do that most people don't want to do. They miss that one point. And that's why this is the most important thing, and it kind of fulfills the whole series of asanas. So let's relax for about 4 minutes. Feet comfortable width apart, arms out alongside the body. Notice that your shoulders are touching your mat. And let's start by energizing, bringing the concentration down toward your heels. As you're breathing into your feet, into your heels. Noticing that your body is connecting with your mat. Feel your body lowering, and almost as if you were surrendering to your mat. Letting the ground hold you up. Now we notice our energy focusing more toward our lower legs. Starting to bring our mind into the present. Shifting our energy up through the upper and lower legs. So noticing that energy traveling up, connecting and deepening into your mat. With each breath, trying to relax now the back letting the back sink into your mat, releasing the tension from your back, almost as if the back was connecting with your mat. Traveling up through the shoulders, relaxing both shoulders, left and right, surrendering them to the mat, all the way down through your whole body, letting the body surrender and breathe. Let go. Let go. Okay, for those of you that want to stretch, want to lie down a little bit longer, you might just want to stay here for a while. And everybody else, let's roll over onto our right side. And let's come up. Let's do some ohms. Let's do some deep breathing first. Let's notice how you're feeling right now as compared to when you first started. You might feel calmer in your thought. Your breath is more relaxed. And these are the benefits of your practice. This is what yoga does. It slows you down. It makes you calmer. So you're able to deal more effectively with stressful situations. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Let's do 3 ohms. Inhale, inhale. One more. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me tonight. And have a great day.